Good Monday morning and welcome to this episode of Coding in AL. And I am getting you straight from under a mango tree. The breeze is amazing with a little bit of the sun on top of me here in the coastal part of Kenya in Lamu County. And today we are going to look at the dialogue, because at times we process reports that take too long to generate. Maybe you are having a function in between processes that takes long, and you like to update the user on what is happening. Like if you're processing for maybe 50 customers, you like the user to see what's the progress, how many customers have been processed, is it 10, is it 20, how many are remaining, instead of giving the user a hanging system where they're just seeing a blank system. Especially for processing only reports, you use a progress dialog to show them the current progress. So today we are going to create the progress dialog. Please stay tuned.
Hii ni Tech na Msangi ya jishinde.com.
So the dialog here, I have created a report that will enable us to generate the dialog, and this report will be, the data item is customers. We have on pre-data item where we are getting the total count of the customers, and then we are opening the dialog. The slip here is assuming that this is now the processing. So your code for processing the customer will be under this slip. Maybe I can reduce it to probably 50 milliseconds. Is it usually milliseconds? Let me see. Duration, return control of the, okay, for a specified time. Okay, I have forgotten what it is. I think it's milliseconds, but I will confirm that. So in the, when you're updating here, like when you're updating this customer, it will replace the text. Let me go to the guidelines first. First of all, you need to enter messages as text constant. Then you write messages using active voice, let's say processing items or processing customers. And then instead of writing items are being processed, you use the active voice, like processing vendors, processing customers, to give the user so that they can see that this is something that is currently happening. And then you align the hash field to the left with at least one space character between the text and the variable. So for you to be able to create a dialog, you need three variables. First, a dialog, and then a count for the integer, and then the text. This text will, you use this hash symbol. So the hash will be replaced by whatever you want to update the user on, and you usually use this backslash to be able to show the next line. Like if you want this line to go to the next line, use that backslash on the same text. So ideally here I am saying processing, and then this one will be replaced by the character that will occupy this space. So this hash is estimating the length of the string that will be occupied here. And ideally, so let's come back here. So on the pre-data item, we get the count of the customer, and then we open. We need to, this dialog has three functions. We have to open the dialog. This open opens the dialog. And as we have said earlier, you need to specify it in the form of a text constant. It's advisable for you to do that. And then here you'll have your processing. On after get record, remember we said that this will be iterating all the records of the customer as we had looked at the report series. So here it will update now the customer name. We are only updating the customer that is being processed, and then once the processing have been done, we do the close of the dialog. So for this particular report, the specified report is processing only report. That's why I usually prefer using the dialog using a processing only report, because the processing only report doesn't show any rows received. So it's good to leave the user in a state where they are not hanging, but they can be able to see the current progress. So this is how we do it. Let me just test this for now, and then we'll be able now to create something here. Let me just run. The next thing is we'll update the count. Based on the count, what is the progress? So this slip here is assuming the current count that we are having, or the current processing that ideally will be there for for the particular report. Okay, I'm debugging. So the report, I named it dialog. So I'll just search for it. I'll search for the dialog report. And when I click on it and click OK, it will start processing. So this is the progress. So it is saying processing, and then it has been done. So the processing is updating this value with this particular customer name. So it has iterated through all the customers and updated their value in the processing there. So maybe we'll add another slip here for the processing to take longer, just for us to be able to see the difference. And here in processing, I need to add another line. Maybe I will say, let me say customer number, and then we will also add this hash. And then we are saying we prefer having the character that is replacing right after the first hash, because this will be replaced by space, but now this will occupy the other customer space. And here, this is the total count. We need to specify something for the current count, which will be an integer. And then in the current count, we will update and say for this number 2, we will say that it is the current count and plus format. What am I doing? Supposed to be the current count over the count. What's happening? Over the count. So it means that we are updating what is happening in the current count versus the total count that we'll be having. And our text read customer number this of this. So we can even say, instead of this, we'll say off. Let's say number 1 of 2, number 2 of 3. And here the update will be updating these characters, and then the close will close the dialog. You can be able to cancel if you want in between. That's the beauty of having a dialog. If the process takes even longer, you can be able to cancel. So I'll run this dialog. Once we run it, we'll be able to, we expect to see the current count over the total number of the count, the total number of customers. And it really helps the user to be able to follow what is going on in the system, because if you don't do that, you will give the user will be confused. They're like, oh, I'm processing, I don't know how long it will take. If they have 1,000 customers, for instance, and they'd like to know which is the current customer versus the total number of customers. So there it is, and then I'll run it. So you can see, come on. Okay, the current count has not been iterated. A mistake from me. Let me just correct it. We needed to iterate it here right on after get record. So we'll say that the current count will be iterated by 1 to just be updating, and then the process will proceed. So I'll run it again, and we'll be able to see exactly that. So it's always good to have the customer see the updates that you're doing. So I'll search for the dialog again. I hope now it's fine. Somebody saw it and just kept quiet instead of telling me. Who is that? No one. It's loading. The system is feeling a bit, the machine is feeling a bit of heat. It's wondering where it is. Huh? Okay, so we can see now we can be able to track that yes, we are going number 45, 50, and there we are 70, and we are done. So with this, you can be able to track the progress that you have while you are running processes. Make use of this dialog feature because it will enable you make it more user friendly for your user to use the custom functionality that you have created for them. And that's it for this video.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss the next one.